Arsenal didn't just win, they controlled every moment. This 2-0 victory tells us something important about this team, and trust me, it's very big. Welcome back to All About Arsenal. Arsenal has beaten Brentford 2-0 tonight in a performance that looked composed, a performance that was mature, exactly what you would expect from a team that is chasing major goals this season. So let us break down everything that happened from the goals, the tactics, the key players, and why this victory matters the most than it seems in the surface. There's no better place to start than the starting lineup. Yeah, we knew this was a midweek fixture and there were going to be some rotations, but as you would see, the likes of Julian Timber got a well-deserved rest with Ben White coming in at right back. I was surprised to also see Bukayo Saka get benched, but obviously Saka being benched meant that Noni Madueke was going to come into the fray, which was awesome as well. Then obviously Bibici Eze also got a rest to allow our captain Martin Odegaard come into the side. So the full lineup was basically Raya in goal, Ben White on the right hand side, Ricardo Calafiori, who had a long rest in the Chelsea game on the left, Hincapie and Mosquera in the middle, because obviously Saliba is not still fit enough, to start. In midfield, we have Mendy in the holding role with Declan Rice on the left eight position and Martin Odegaard on the right eight position. And of course, it seems Victor Gyökeres is not fully fit yet, or maybe Mikel Merino is just playing so well. But Merino started in centre forward with Gabriel Martinelli on the left and Noni Madueke on the right. As you'd expect from the side defending against Arsenal, Brentford started with Kaomi Keleha in goal, and they had a three-man defense with Ethan Pinnock, Christopher Ayer, and Seb Vandenberg as the centre-back pairing. The wing-backs were Rico Henry and the dangerous Michael Kayode, while they had a three-pronged midfield that Jensen, Yaho Yamoluk, and Janelt. Yes, Jan Janelt. In attack, I was surprised to see that they rested their key striker, Thiago, and opted for Django Utara and Kevin Shada. So this game had a fast start from Arsenal, and of course the tempo was really strong as well. Right from the kickoff, Arsenal set the tone of the game. Our ball circulation was very crisp, our press was very coordinated, and Brentford barely had a moment to breathe. Like in the first half, especially, Noni Madueke and Ben White combined very well. Noni gave Rico Henry a real run for his money. It was a very difficult night for the left back, On the other side, Kayode wasn't really troubled by Martinelli per se, but the tempo that Arsenal used was very high. This is a pattern that we're starting to see this season, and anytime we sense any vulnerability, we do not hesitate. We just take our control early. And it was very clear that Arsenal had a game plan for Brentford. They were everything that we're going to use a low block with the two defenders they had, the two wing backs, and most times they always play with pretty much a back five. Then adding to the back five, they had the three midfielders that were all like basically industrious laborers in quotes. So you're talking about 8 guys at the back. But it was going to be a serious low block, and that's why it is important for us now to come off, from the blocks real fast. And thankfully, we scored from that as well. Our dominance in midfield was very clear. Declan Rice and Mendy had loads of possession, loads of the ball, loads of passes. Odegaard also was heavily involved as well, in what was going on in the team, which was a good thing. And I'm very, very happy to see how the players did well, how the confidence was there from the onset. Our passing triangles were very smooth. The recycling of possession was very efficient, and Brentford could not get near the ball. Despite all they tried, nothing worked out for them. Yes, they had a lot of corner kicks, and a lot of throw-ins. They tried to, use Michael Kayode a lot, but Arsenal had that dominance in midfield. That dominance also allowed our fullbacks to join the attack very well, to keep our team in a nice structure. It seems like it wants to rain. So let's break down the goals. The first goal was from Mikel Merino. Beautiful attack on the right hand side. Um, Nani Madueke and Ben White connected very well. Nani gave the ball to White, who now locked the ball into the box. And Merino attacked the ball quickly before Pinnock could get there, nodding the ball to the ground. And that was more than enough to, get it past Kelleher. If you had done the ball straight, maybe the ball would have gone over the bar. But, Merino is someone that is very good with his head. And we have seen him do that several times in the past. And I'm very happy to see how that worked out. The second goal was very, very late in the 90th minute. There was so much pressure in the game for Arsenal to finally score that goal because Kevin Schade actually had a header that clipped the crossbar. But on second viewing, David Raya actually made an amazing save, to keep that at bay. But what was important was that Arsenal controlled the game. And when Miguel Merino scored that goal, there was some respite. But in the end, in the 91st minute, Bukayo Saka, who came on as a sub for Noni Madueke, scored the final goal. It was a shot that Kelleher punched into the air, but he still landed into the goal because he went beyond the line, and the goal line technology on the ref's watch was more than enough to confirm that Arsenal had scored. So this kind of puts us in a very, very good position going into this weekend against Aston Villa, which we'll talk about much later. Now let's talk tactics. I thought tactics were on point today. First things first, he gave his players some well-needed rest. Saka is someone that has played so many games of football. He needed a break. Julian Timber, I'm surprised to see how many games he has played for us this season and played regularly too. He's someone that in his first season with the club, he had an ACL injury, and that ACL injury kept him for the entire campaign. Then last season, he played a lot of games, and if you remember, towards the time when he played against PSG in the semi-finals of the Champions League, Timber was playing through pain. Obviously, Ben White has had his injury problems as well, and because of the injury challenges that Ben White has had, he has not really had the time to play consistently. But White is fit, and if a player is fit, he needs to play games. So I was very glad to see Ben White start, and he was very influential in the game, also gave an assist for a goal. And, I thought did very well with his tactics. At some point when we needed to, make some much needed changes, he brought on Eberechi Eze and Bukayo Saka. Like, Arsenal's bench was very stacked. You could see the kind of players, the quality that was on that bench. And when it was time to, bring these guys into the fold, they came on. And guess what? For yet another game this season, a substitute scored for us. So Eberechi Eze came on as a sub for Martinelli on the left-hand side. Bukayo Saka came on as a sub for Noni Madueke on the right-hand side, while Odegaard remained in the spot in the middle. Unfortunately, the injury bugs caught us again. Christian Mosquera jumped to head the ball, and the way he landed, it didn't look good at all. And I think he must have injured his knee, or maybe tweaked something in his knee, because he wasn't good enough to start and to play anymore. And Timber, who was someone that was supposed to be rested for this game, had no choice, but to come in as a sub. Then later on, we also brought in Vitor Gyökeres, and we took out Declan Rice, because Declan Rice also had like a small niggle. But with Merino being a very versatile player, Declan Rice coming out of the pitch meant that he had to now move to midfield to allow Vitor Gyökeres, stay in attack. So his substitutions were very intelligent. Arsenal managed the game very well without unnecessary risks, and this is exactly what title contenders do. They win professionally, and that was very important for the team to get that victory against Brentford. Bearing in mind that the team who drew against us, Chelsea, went and lost at Leeds. It would have been a very great game week again if Fulham had scored the fifth goal against Manchester City. But obviously that didn't happen, but that's all right. But what's key to note that we have gotten our 5-point lead gap, which is very important. And Chelsea, unfortunately, lost to Leeds, so it's back to Man City. So let's talk about the player ratings. Raya has a 7. He didn't have much to do in the game, but the one moment was needed, which was that lovely save from the header from Shada. He came through. Initially, when I saw that header, I thought that it would actually hit the bar. But on second viewing, Raya actually made a magnificent punch, to keep that ball out. In right back, Ben White playing his very first game in a very, very long time, scored a give a wonderful assist. That's one thing about Ben White and Timber. Ben White actually overlaps very well, but defensively, he's not really as good as Timber. But he came on today, did very well, 8 for me. Mosquera, before his injury, he played very well. But unfortunately, there's even a time when Mosquera went all the way to attack and gave a very lovely pass to Noni Madueke. But unfortunately, the Arsenal winger was darling on the ball and Rico Henry was there to sniff it out. Piero Hincapié had another good game. He even had a wound. I think him and was it Thiago clashed heads and was on the ground for quite a while. But with Saliba and Gabriel on the bench, we are very light at the back. And with Saliba and Gabriel injured, we are very light at the back. So seeing Mosquera get injured was very sad because now to allow Timber come as a centre back, but that would also mean that Ben White will get more games at right back. But the injury bugs are just crazy this season. That's now suffered way too many injuries for my liking. And unfortunately, we had one again. Calafiori, as always, was the chaos agent in the team. There was even a moment where he did a back heel in the Brentford box. That guy is just something else. Like, it's going to be very difficult for Marcelo Kelly to come back to the squad with the way Calafiori is playing. But obviously, he will still have his time. In midfield, Mendy had a very good game, dictated tempo very well, was always available for a pass, progressed the play superbly as you would expect from him. Martin Odegaard, he was decent. He wasn't super, in my opinion. He just had a decent game. I wish he did better, but he was all right. Had a couple of passes. Times he had to shoot. You know how Odegaard does. That is a lot, but he had a good game, notwithstanding. Declan Rice also played very well up until when he was, out of the game. Noni Madueke actually gets a 7 from me. I think that was a typo, writing 5 there. He actually did very well, especially against Rico Lewis. It was a very, very good one-on-one encounter with him, created some chances. It was his open play style that gave the ball to Ben White, who crossed that ball for Merino to score. Obviously, Saka came on to replace him, but it's good to see that we have the right kind of quality when we need them. Martinelli put up a weak performance. I think, in all honesty, he's better as an impact sub. Yeah, I think better than an impact sub right now. When guys are tired, he can come in and just use his legs and play. But because I'm not really impressed, in all honesty, with his performance. Merino continues to prove his doubters wrong. Yet another awesome performance from him. Scored it a lovely header. Also created the assist for Saka. The way he drops down, drops deep to influence the play is second to none. And I'm very, very happy with what he's doing. Obviously, at some point, we need Gyökeres to come back to the side. But Merino has done very well in his absence. So what does this win mean for us? First, Arsenal is 5 points ahead of Man City. 33 points from 14 games played, 27 goals scored, 7 goals conceded. Very good goal difference of 20. But Man City are currently on our tails. They have 28 points. Then Aston Villa has moved to third because of the fact that Chelsea lost to Leeds, surprisingly. So a lot of things are happening at the back in top sides. Crystal Palace got a win against Burnley. It was a game they were expected to win as well. So they moved up to 5th. Sunderland managed to hold their own at Anfield, and they are 6th. Brighton, unfortunately, lost to Aston Villa. That was a crazy game, 3-4. Can't wait to see the highlights of that one because I think I was watching the Arsenal game, so there's no way I could see the Brighton game, but my phone kept buzzing with all the stats and goals and whatnot. And of course, Liverpool get another terrible, disappointing performance at home. At least this time, Florian Wirtz, he had finally scored his goal, but it was very ruled as a Michele own goal. Man United is playing tomorrow against West Ham, and if they get a victory, it could take them to 24 points, which would be somewhere around sixth place or fifth. Yeah, fifth place actually, because they'll go above Crystal Palace. So our next opponents are Aston Villa. They are in very good form. If I go back to the form table here, you can see Villa has a loss and 4 wins in a row. So they are basically the most informed team in the division right now. And Arsenal needs to be very mindful of the threat they're going to pose. Unai Emery is a manager that obviously has some history with us, and his players will be up for it. This is a game that Arsenal cannot afford to lose because Man City is playing Sunderland. Sunderland has actually been doing very well. So, but it's every game that's in front of you that you just play. So I'm looking forward to the encounter against Aston Villa this weekend. And it's actually going to be the very first game of the game week, by 1:30 or be 2:30 or thereabouts. So Arsenal need to, get that result early and just enjoy the rest of the weekend. So that's it for today's match reaction stream. It's quite late. I need to get to sleep. Well, thanks for everyone that's been on the chat today watching this. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. That'll probably be the Fan Friday, which is going to happen tomorrow. I think I'll do an Aston Villa preview video as well. Yeah. But of course, as the time goes, we'll see how we can make things work. All right, fam. Have a good